Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to this lesson. We um we are studying a new concept, صد, the verb or not. So we have been meeting in some cases the verb or non, but today in this lesson we are going to look at this verb or non, how it is constructed and what it means. Remember, before we look at that, let's look at the construction or the pieces that forms a verb. Dakhala, he entered. If you look in this, the verb dakhala, it has got three parts. It has got the action, it has got the actor, and the time. In most cases, we refer this as the verb, the fa'ilun, and the time, whether it's mudari or it's mad. Remember, when you say this is fi'al madi mabniyun ala fata, أين فاعل مستتر تقديره هو. When we say that, it means we are mentioning all these three. We are actually mentioning the three. He entered. Who entered? The actor, he. And when did he enter? He entered. It means the time passed. This thing happened. And what happened? What is the action? Enter is the action. So let's look at the musadar. Musadar is a verb or noun. Actually, it originates from the verb itself. It contains the action, but no actor or time. It doesn't tell us what, who did this and when it happened. Let's look at this. Duhulun. Remember why we say duhulun? Because it is a noun, so it is murakab. It can decline. You can say duhulun, duhulin, al duhul, duhulan as well. But what makes it so peculiar is it doesn't have the actor in the time. You cannot say duhulu entry is happening in the past or in the present or in the future. It doesn't tell us. It's duhul. Duhulun this is a fibonan musad. It can also come in different forms. We are going to look at that in some time when given a verb to turn into musad. It's called the original or infinitive or grand. Is when we talk of infinite. Infinite is something that doesn't end. When you say infinite, it doesn't end. So you say entry, there's no time limitation to it. It's not limited by time because there's no time factor. Or we can say there's no one who is controlling it. So we say we call entry. So let's have a look at some of the examples of Musad. There's no single pattern to create a verb or noun from a verb. But here's some of example. We don't have a singular pattern to say it must be like this. But you can say for ulun from a three-letter verb. For ulun. Remember we've been learning about the patterns. Fi'lun, fu'ulun. In this case, this is the pattern. So you can say haraja, he went out. Yakhruj is going out. Khuruj, what do you think? Exit. So it doesn't necessarily tell us who is the person who is exited, when was he exited, what happened. It doesn't give us much details. It's just a noun. Exit. Nazala, yanzilu, nuzul, came down. Just it descended, descend. It doesn't tell us what, but he descended. Nazal is descending or is going down, but descend doesn't tell us the time. It can continue happening. So we've got fu'ulu. This is the pattern of fu'ulu from these two. Then fa'alun. We can have in some instances the pattern of fa'alun. Let's look at this. Dhahaba يذهب ذهاب. See, ذهاب is now an ism. If you see tanween, it means it's now an ism. Okay. ذهاب, this is a musaddad of ذهب, taken from ذهب, ذهاب musaddad. Okay. Na, naha, najaha, to one, or is successful. Yanjah is winning or successful. Najah, success. So it doesn't tell us the time or the act. Who is that person who is being successful? Okay. So look at this. We can also have, in some instances, a pattern which is fi'alun. Fi'alun. Remember, we said it doesn't have the actual one pattern in this. Nakaha, right? Or height, or you could see something. Yanhat, yanka, ika. So it's hidden. So you can't tell as well. Kitabun, kataba, from the word kataba, yaktub. Kitab, book. Here it's he wrote, he's writing, but here written, we can't, doesn't show us who did this. Okay. So in other instances, we can see fa'alun, fa'alun, fataha, yaftahu, fathun. This is the pattern. Nasara, yansur, nasrun, vict, 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 yuan, vict. Alima, ya'alim, ilm, knowledge. It's an ism. Hafidha, yahfadu, hifdun, preserved. Okay. Fi'ala, fi'alatun. So you see fi'alatun is also another pattern. Darasa, yadrusu, dirasatun. This is musaddad. Abada, ya'budu, worship, is worshipping. Ibadat. Okay. So this is some of the examples. Let's look at the interpreted original, al-musad al-mu'awwal. Al-musad al-mu'awwal, we are going to meet al-musad al-mu'awwal most cases. We've already used some of these sentences. Let's have a look at this one. Uridu an adhaba, I want to go. This phrase an adhaba, let's have a closer look at it. It's al-musadar mu'awwal. Musadar mu'awwal. Uridu here is, this is jumla fi'liya. So it's a jumla fi'liya. We said fi'l mudari مرفوع بضمة الظاهر. إن وين أين الفاعل؟ فاعل مستتر تقديره أنا. أن أذهب, I want to go. Let's have a look at the compound structure. This is a compound structure. أن أذهب. And you can see our verb here, أذهب, is changed into mansub. Let's have a look at what's happening. An is here حرف نصب مصدرين. So we say harf nasb. Remember, we've learned about some other huruf. We have got inna, harf tawkid, wa nasb. You still remember? Say harf inna, harf nasb, wa harf tawkid, wa nasb. You still remember? Here we now have an, not inna. An, alif, hamza, fatha, and nun with sukun. An. Usually we use this in verbs. We use an with verbs. This is fi'l mudari. So let's have a closer look at what's happening here. Okay. حرف نصب مصدرية. أذهب is now not أذهب, it's أذهب. An is affected or fi'l mudari here into fatih, mansubun case. So we say it's fi'l mudari mansubun bil fatah zahir. So you can see the fatah is here. So whenever an precedes a fi'l mudari, it becomes mansubun. The fi'l mudari becomes mansubun. So we say an harf nasbin wal mudari ومصدرية. So it changes the fi'l mudari into mansubun. And we call this compound structure, this an adhaba al-musaddar al-awwal. Remember musaddar, it means musaddar that we learned about. What about adhab? What did we say? Dhahaba, yadhabu, dhahabun, dhahabun. So in this case, we can change. Let's look at this one. Al-musaddar can be used instead of musaddar awal. So we can actually change musaddar and put musaddar awal, so as the above sentence can be written with the sentence that we are looking at, is uridu an adhab. So we can change this sentence, uridu an adhab. Remember, this an adhab is musaddar al-muawwal. We can change musaddar al-muawwal into musaddar into master. And this master, remember, adhab. Remember, we said this is a noun, so we can actually put alif lam in this noun. This is a noun. So we say uridu dhahab. Uridu dhahab. Dhahab. So I want to go. It's the same as uridu an adhab. Uridu dhahab. I want to go. It's the same as uridu dhahab. So the other one is musaddar, or is masdar awal, and the other one is master. So take note of the difference of the verb or noun and interpreted origin. So this is the one we were talking about. Let's look at some of the examples of al-masdar al-awwal. If you say nuridu an nadhab, take a look at the construction of this al-masdar al-awwal. An nadhab, this is, if we say this is fi'l mudari مرفوع بالضمة الظاهر أنا فاعل مستتر تقديره نحن. That's why we have na is in nurid. Remember, all verbs, present tense verbs, fi'l mudari begins with any of the four: alif, nun, ya, or ta. So if you want to see if a fi'l is a mudari, you look at the four possibilities of start, which is alif, urid, nun, nurid, ta, turid, ya, yurid. These are the only way in fi'l mudari can start. So let's look at here. Nuridu an nadhab. So nadhab, in nadhab, it's changed into an nadhaba. Nadhaba. This is al-masdar al-muawwal. So if I tell you, okay, we want to change this into master, do you still remember? We say nadhab. No, what do we say? Say dhahab. So we can change dhahab or into another. So let's have a look at this one. Let's have a look. Okay, take note. An aktub. Okay, let's look at nasid an أكتب واجباتي. I forgot to write my homework. Wajibati. Wajib. Wajib monthly. This is homework. So wajibati. I forgot. Nasid. فعل ماض أو فعل مضارع. فعل ماض. لفت. Here is مبني على السكون because we've got سكون نسيت which is اتصلت ب تفاعل يدل على الآن. So you say نسيت if you are speaking to yourself. أن أكتب to write. Okay. See how an affects فعل مضارع. This is مصدر. This is master. master أو معول. Okay. أرجو أن نسمح للخروج. Okay. خروج, you still remember خروج from خرج. يخرج. أن يخرج. خروج. Leave. I request that you allow me to leave. I request. أرجو. To request. طلب. Say طلب. أطلب. أريد أن تجلسوا يا إخوان. Look at this one. I want that you sit. Oh my brothers. تجلسوا أن تجلسوا. Okay. أرجو أن تغسلوا منديلي يا زينب. I want you to wash, that you wash. So and in this case, remember, is that. That's why you in some instances you see that they say so that you wash. Okay, we're still on this one. And master muawad. So let me proceed with this one. Okay. أريد أن تحفظنا سورة الرحمن يا بناتي. So I request you to memorize Surah Rahman, for my daughters. So you can see how it is used. أريد أن تذهبا. So it's referring to two people. تذهبا إلى غرفتكم يا حامد وبابك. You can see that. Right. Let's look at the negation of in verbs. This is our part one. We are going to end here. The negation in verbs. You can negate verbs. Remember, we have been using ma and la in ism, in jumla ismiya. But now let's look at how we can negate verbs. Well, how we can negate the verbs. So we use ma nafiya. Ma nafiya. We can use ma nafiya in fi'l madhi, which means we can use in past tense. For example, ma dhahabtu ila suq. I did not go. So we are negating the action. Here dhahabtu. I didn't go. I didn't go to the market. So ma dhahabtu, the action here, the fi'l is the one that we are negating. Dhahaba. So dhahabtu refers to me, speaker, the alim. So when I want to say I didn't go, we negate with using ma. This is past tense, fi'l mad. So we say ma dhahabtu ila suq. What about if it is now, the present time only? We say, which is fi'l mudari marfu'un. In this case, we say ma nasma'u al-ikhbar. Ma nasma'u. You see, you can actually use ma nafia in both mudari and ma, past and present tense. So in this case, we are saying we are not listening to the news. It refers to the time of the moment, like now. We are not listening now. So you say ma nasma'u. So you can negate the present tense, the present time, and also you can negate the past. Let's look at la. And here, let me just highlight something. You can see ma is not affecting this anything. It's not affecting the field here. Ma dhahabtu, it still remains intact as it is. No changes. Ma nasma'u, no changes. Just negating. Nafi. It doesn't change any ending of the verb. So let's look at this one. La nahiya. La nahiya can only be used in negating fi'l mudari marfu. Let's look at this one. Negate the action in continue. Is it happening? We can say la nasma'u ikhbar. So it doesn't change as well the fi'l mudari. We do not listen to the news. So it's not we did it. It's happening now. So we don't listen to the news. La is nafi, negating the action which is happening like now continuously. So if you're continuously negating, it means you don't. Because if you say la nasma'u, it means you are not listening now and you are not going to listen as it goes, as the news continues. So it continue to negate the present moment. So la nasma'u but we are not listening and we do not listen. So it tends to do not listen. You're not listening and you do not listen. So take note of that. Okay, let me see. La nahiya. La nahiya. La nahiya is, it changes the fi'al mudari into majzumun. What do I say? I mean by majzumun, it makes it a command. So if you want to command someone, we can use that. If you want to tell someone, don't do this, don't touch, don't go, don't sit, لا تجلس هنا, لا تذهب, لا أكل, لا تأكل, and so on. So it brings a command or request not to do something. So do not sit here, لا تجلس. So it's something that is happening. So we are here now. We are still continuing here. So we're saying la nahiya negates something like in present. If you are speaking to someone, you want to give an instruction not to do that. So you can use la nahiya. We call la nahiya. And look at how la nahiya changes the fi'l mudari into majzumun. Remember, majzumun bisukun. So you change the last standing of the verb harf into sukun. Lan can use it only in fi'l mudari. This one turns into mansub. Only negates future of the future action. So futuristic particle. If you don't know, if you want to negate something that will happen tomorrow or in the future, you say lan adhaba ila suq qadan. So lan adhaba ila suq qadan, it means this lan, this particle of negation, is turning the fi'l mudari into mansubun bil fatha, as you can see here, and it negates the action that is going to happen tomorrow. Hadden. So it's specific to say hadden. So lan negates a futuristic action in fi'l mudari and makes the fi'l mudari mansubun. Lan adhab, lan ajlis, lan akul. so forth and so forth. So take note of the difference of lan and la. Lan is futuristic and la is happening now, but it prohibits. It's more like a command. So take note of how we use la. La here ta, you can use with la anta. If you are instructing anta, anti, antum, antuna, and you cannot um, command someone who's absent, remember. So you use hard in most cases. Okay. We'll look at some of those differences when you command the absent person. Okay. Learn adhab. So this is our negation of verbs. In other lesson, we are going to look at the modes of, in another lesson, the modes of fi'al mudari. How does it change from marfu'un, mansubun, and majzumun, and some of the particles that make them change that we've already learned in this part one. So part two, in other lesson, we are going to look at the modes and how we can construct sentence and make it up of the sentences that we have. For now, let's end here as we will look in this lesson. Next lesson, we are going to look at Medinah book and see how this can be implemented in sentences and in conversation. Jazakallah khairan. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala.